All right, so is self-storage still a good investment? When you get online and you just Google self-storage or the self-storage industry, the amount of results that show up is astronomical. It's just crazy right now. And a lot of those ones are very negative. And I've been reading through these and I thought they were interesting. And I want to make a video explaining here and questioning, is self-storage still a good investment? So first of all, I've invested in everything from third-tier markets, small facilities, big box store conversions, ground-up developments. We own over 1.2 million square feet in over 6 states and are expanding rapidly, right? I have the #1 self-storage podcast as well as the #1 selling book on self-storage. So now, do I think self-storage is still a good investment? Well, why is it being questioned? That's the first question, right? So why do people even think that this may not be a good investment anymore? And really, this comes down to the underlying issue of new supply. So there's been a massive increase in supply on the market. In the last 20 years alone, there's been over a 443% increase in new construction. So in the last year, it's a 27% increase in new construction, and we have over 344% increase in construction in the last 10 years. Self-storage has been on a wild ride, and it has changed dramatically. And those numbers are massive. You have to remember, this is an industry that does $40 billion in revenue a year. And there's a lot of storage facilities. To give you any idea how many storage facilities there are, which is roughly 45,000 to 65,000 storage facilities on the market, that is more than Starbucks, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, Pizza Hut, and Wendy's combined. That's a lot of storage, and they're building more. So a lot of people now are questioning, is self-storage still a good investment? Well, here are my thoughts and here are my opinions. Okay, first, I think that self-storage, the transformation self-storage has gone through, is also a rotation in assets. Demand hasn't fundamentally changed that much. We're still under 10% of all U.S. households utilize self-storage. So demand has remained fairly constant. But during the recession, development just absolutely was demolished, right? Everybody stopped developing, and this happened for years. So before that, you had around 500 a million every single year of new development coming on. Now, even if you caught up over the last 3-4 years, we've already massively surpassed that. But 2, momentum in the United States has also changed. People are moving again. And self-storage has a 41% margin. A lot of people want to be in this game. But the most important statistics to self-storage are these. 73% of all storage facilities on the market are still mom and pop or single operators. That means there's a lot of inventory out there. When you look at other industries, all those assets are consolidated amongst the big ones, right? Amongst Wall Street, amongst the big funds and the big players. So it's harder for individuals to get in the game. Now let's talk about the economics or the future of self-storage. In the United States, the laws regarding on where you can store or how you can store have really changed. You just can't park RVs out on the road anymore, right? You just can't have a shed sitting on the side of your house, right? Building codes have changed. Neighborhoods have changed the way that they enforce how your house can look and what you can do. But also, the big one is real estate prices have gotten very expensive. Housing, the amount of housing, although is increasing, the square footage of utilization is going down as well as renters are increasing. So the cost to store for an individual has never been more expensive than today. So self-storage offers a cheap alternative to building up more on your home or buying a bigger home. Also, we have a big turnover in the baby boomers. They're now retiring. They need places to store. And a lot of people started out by saying millennials don't store things. They don't use storage because they're minimalist. That's actually not true at all. They're the largest generation utilizing storage. And they're not throwing mom and dad stuff away. So we see a big resilience in the utilization of storage. We don't see that changing anytime soon because there's a big side also that's happening, and that's how we get our products and where those products are coming from, right? Amazon. Okay, we've changed the way we buy. We buy online. That means products, services, right? That's also created a boom in entrepreneurship, right? This year was the largest boom in entrepreneurship in the United States in the last 40 years. People are starting businesses. They're starting online businesses, and they need to store and operate those businesses. They're not buying that themselves, right? People are moving home. We've seen it in coronavirus. They're moving home. They're going home and running stuff out of their own home, their business now. Office space is vacancies are increasing. So people are utilizing storage to run businesses and operate out of. That's something we've used very well to our advantage when building storage facilities. We actually target business owners and we fill up quickly. So the important thing is, I don't think that every market's great. In fact, a lot of markets, yes, they're overbuilt, but storage is hyper-local. So if you're looking at a self-storage investment, you need to focus on two things. You need to focus on the person. Who's utilizing it? Why are they utilizing it? Right? And that market, how much is being offered there, right? So you need to look at that overall market. What's going on in that market? But storage is a 3-mile radius kind of business. It is. So you may have part of a city that's overbuilt and then another part is completely underserved. The second side of storage is the operator. Not all operators are created equal. This is so important. You could have an operator that's not even a half a mile away from another one, and they can be doing 40% more revenue than the one a half a mile away. Better operators are taking massive advantage of the opportunities in the market, and they're buying up those mom and pops, and they're operating way better, and they're making a lot more profit. After all, that's our strategy. That's what we do. We buy undervalued facilities, or we go into markets and we give better products to individuals, and they fill up fast, and we get a lot of revenue. So like all industries, yes, there's winners and losers, but self-storage has remained strong. Delinquencies are at a low, right? Even when you look at the overall bankruptcies in self-storage, they're just not really out there. We're not seeing a massive spike. And even after coronavirus, I've been through 2 recessions, the Great Recession and now coronavirus with self-storage. Our assets have remained resilient, even in markets that have a lot of supply. Now, once again, with that said, you gotta look at the local markets. Oversupply is something you just can't beat with storage. Supply and demand is so important. And at the end of the day, storage is kind of a commodity, right? It's a box. Yes, there's spreading qualities and there's different operators, which I'll cover in a different story or a different YouTube video, but really it's space. So if you go into a market and you're looking at who's utilizing the facility and you're all competing after the same people and they're building more and more square footage on the market, of course you're going to see drop in revenue. And of course you're going to see drops in rates. And we're seeing that across the nation. There's markets that I wouldn't touch. I don't care if you were going to give me that storage facility. But with that said, there's a lot of markets that are doing great. The storage demand is strong. So is storage in trouble? Is it a good investment? Okay. Yeah, it's a good investment. And yeah, in some locations, storage is in trouble. Be smart where you buy. So remember, focus on where you're buying, supply and demand, and the customer. Then focus on the operator. Who's operating it? How are you going to compete? Right? How's it going to work? If you get those 2 things right, storage is an incredible investment, not just a good one.